They have 9,000 permits to drill now. They could be drilling right now, yesterday, last week, last year. They have 9,000 to drill onshore that are already approved. So let me be clear. Let me be clear. They are not using them for production now. That's their decision. These are the facts. We should be honest about the facts.
So during Biden's speech about banning the import of Russian gas, addressing the skyrocketing prices of fuel in the country, he bent over and begged for big oil to drill him. Now, what the hell am I talking about? First, some context. Biden is approving more oil and gas drilling permits on public lands than Trump, analysis finds. Biden is approving more drilling permits on public lands than Trump, analysis shows. This is from the Washington Post, where democracy dies in darkness. Remember that, guys. Jeff Bezos is here to save us from our democracy dying in darkness. That's why he bought the Washington Post, to save our democracy. Biden has a higher per month average of approved onshore oil and gas drilling permits than Trump did in any of the first 3 years of his presidency. So we have a chart here. These are the Trump years. This is Biden's year. In his first year in office, Biden is approving more permits than any of the first 3 years of Trump's term. The fourth year of Trump's term, he approved a shit ton, right? So let's add some context to that. Outgoing presidents will often do stuff that really benefits their donors at the cost of the voters in their fourth year. You know, they're on their way out. I don't think Trump even thought he would get elected, let alone reelected. So he's there, you know, signing permits off on the end. Extra context for Joe Biden's first year, that's during coronavirus. So, you know, Trump's last year, coronavirus, and Biden's first year, coronavirus. So a lot of work was halted. Let's just say that, right? The Biden administration has approved more oil and gas drilling permits on public lands per month than Trump administration did during the first 3 years of Donald Trump's presidency, according to analysis shared exclusively with the Climate 202. The report by Public Citizen, a liberal advocacy group, illustrates that President Biden has been slow to reverse Trump's fossil fuel-friendly agenda, despite his campaign promise to push for, quote, no more drilling on federal lands because of climate change. So we have Biden promising no more drilling, right? I'm not going to do anything. We're not going to do any more drilling on federal land because, you know, climate change is bad. I'm Joe Biden, vote for me. And then he goes and he continues on the exact policies of Trump. Actually is more aggressive than Trump in his first year. Now, this is some funny things he said during his speech talking about the banning of Russian fossil fuels.
We're moving forward with this ban, understanding that many of our European allies and partners may not be in a position to join us. The United States produces far more oil domestically than all the European countries combined. In fact, we're a net exporter of energy. In coordination with our partners, we've already announced that we're releasing 60 million barrels of oil from our joint oil reserves. Half of that, 30 million, is coming from the United States. And we're taking steps to ensure the reliable supply of global energy. Look, let me be clear about two other points. First, it's simply not true that my administration or policies are holding back domestic energy production. That's simply not true. Even amid the pandemic, companies in the United States pumped more oil during my first year in office than they did during my predecessor's first year. We're approaching a record levels of oil and gas production in the United States, and we're on track to set a record oil production next year. In the United States, 90% of onshore oil production takes place on land that isn't owned by the federal government. And of the remaining 10% that occurs on federal land, the oil and gas industry has millions of acres leased. They have 9,000 permits to drill now. They could be drilling right now, yesterday, last week, last year. They have 9,000 to drill onshore that are already approved. So let me be clear. They are not using them for production now. That's their decision. These are the facts. We should be honest about the facts.
So Joe Biden here admitting that America is a massive producer of fossil fuels. What a clown. Listen to how he begs for big oil to drill more. So, not only is he a complete liar, his campaign promises of no more drilling on federal land, he's bragging about how many permits he's allowed, and then he's blaming the fossil fuel industry for not drilling more on federal land. That's literally what he's saying. That's Joe Biden for you guys. This is, these are one of the mask off moments that come with Joe Biden's presidency. So as we are, and this is a prepared speech, so him and all of his speechwriters and aides, they thought it was a good idea to say this. And he went on to talk about green energy, and this conflict shows why we need to not do fossil fuels, blah, 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 some lip service to that. But this was a big focus of his speech, oh, gas prices are going to go up, but, the American people are willing to do that to take on Putin and Putin's war. And, by the way, why isn't big oil drilling more? He's literally bending over and begging to get drilled. Joe Biden bends over for big oil and begs to get drilled. That's what this video is. This is him begging for drilling. This is him turning to big oil and going, drill me, daddy. That's what he's saying. He's like, I gave you 9,000 permissions to drill me, daddy. Why won't you drill more? That's what he's saying. That's what Joe Biden's saying right there.
But I also want to acknowledge those firms and oil and gas industries that are pulling out of Russia and joining other businesses that are leading by example.
So he starts with, fluffing the cocks of the fossil fuel industry.
This is a time when we have to do our part.
You guys are so great. Don't take advantage of your customers.
Let me be clear.
What business would ever do that?
Two other points. First, it's simply not true that my administration or policies are holding back domestic energy production. That's simply...
What does he mean by domestic energy production? He means my administration is doing absolutely nothing to hold back the extraction, processing, shipping of fossil fuels. That's what he's saying.
Not true. Even amid the pandemic, companies in the United States pumped more oil during my first year in office than they did during my predecessor's first year. We're approaching a record levels of oil and gas production in the United States, and we're on track to set a record oil production next year.
So he's talking about increasing, right? We're on track to set a world record in production. So we're doing nothing but ramping up oil and gas. That's what he's saying.
In the United States, 90% of onshore oil production takes place on land that isn't owned by the federal government. And of the remaining 10% that occurs on federal land, the oil and gas industry has millions of acres leased. They have 9,000 permits to drill.
Here comes the drill me, daddy.
Right now, yesterday, last week, last year. They have 9,000 to drill onshore that are already approved. So let me be clear. They are not using them for production now. That's their decision. These are the facts. We should be honest about the facts.
There's Sleepy Joe for you guys. He wants to get drilled. Joe Biden is begging big oil to drill him. Hi, I'm your host, Dylan.
Dylan! You son of a bitch.
My co-host is a literal dog. And I am a pothead. And I sit here in my living room and get really high and read the news and watch news reports and videos. And then I put together some reports here and I bloviate and talk shit. That's what I do. My main focus is American imperialism and its costs both abroad and at home. But yeah, it's just me bullshitting with my puppy dog, figuring out this crazy thing we called life.